Hello and welcome to Narayana IAS Academy. In this session of the top topics of the week, we'll delve into 6 most interesting and important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. So let's explore each and every topic in depth so that you are well prepared and informed for the examination. So let's kick off with the first topic.
The next article that we'll be discussing about is what did the 2013 panel say on death penalty for rape. Okay, so in this particular article, we'll be discussing about the Justice Verma Committee, its establishment and its recommendations with respect to awarding death penalty in case of rape. Okay. So, moving forward, here we'll be discussing about Justice Verma Committee as well as its recommendation, and this particular topic is relevant for both your prelims and the mains examination with respect to GS paper 2, specifically under government policies and interventions for development in various sectors and issues arising out of the design as well as implementation. So, moving forward, there has been a previous year question asked in the year 2019 with respect to various challenges that women in India face. So, our takeaway from this particular topic is that the vulnerable sections of the population, particularly women as well as the crime against them, related issues as well as the schemes and the measures taken by the government become very, very important for both the prelims as well as the mains examination. Now, moving forward, let us understand what this particular article is discussing about. So, the recent brutal rape and the murder of a doctor in Kolkata had actually reignited discussions about the Justice Verma Committee's stance on the death penalty for rape. So now it is important for us to understand what is this Justice Verma Committee, when was it constituted and what were the related recommendations given by the committee. So the Justice Verma Committee was established in December 12 in lieu or in the wake of the Delhi gang rape case, that was the Nirbhaya gang rape case. Okay, so this was actually chaired by the former Chief Justice Mr. J.S. Verma. The panel was tasked with reviewing and recommending the reforms on laws which are actually relevant or related to sexual violence. And the committee's proposals led to significant changes in the legal framework, many of which were incorporated in the Criminal Law Amendment Act of 2013 that aimed at strengthening protections for women and also imposing harsher penalties in case of sexual crimes any committed. Okay, so what were the key recommendations that were given by this particular Justice Verma Committee was that, first, regarding the death penalty for rape, what did the committee say? The committee firmly opposed the death penalty for rape even in rarest of rare cases. Why did it actually oppose death penalty? Because it's already a heinous crime. It actually argued that the death penalty does not serve as a stronger deterrent and could hinder the broader goal of reforming the justice system. It actually said that our main goal should be reforming the justice system and to not actually award capital punishment. And also, regarding the enhanced sentences for rape, the committee recommended increasing the tenure that would be served by the offender. For, it was earlier 7 to 10 years with a maximum of, it actually said we need to raise this, bar or the period from 7 to 10 years to around 20 years of life imprisonment, but without the option of death penalty. It also called for life imprisonment in cases where the victim is left in a persistent vegetative state, emphasizing severe punishment while rejecting this particular capital punishment of death penalty. And also, it actually focused on the reforms as well as rehabilitation. Here, the committee highlighted the importance of societal reforms as well as, it said that we need to focus on reforming, okay? And that is why it said you need to focus on societal reform rather than extreme punishment in the form of death penalty. And it also pointed out that there is little evidence to suggest that the death penalty is more effective than life imprisonment in deterring sexual violence. Instead, it advocated for a justice system that focuses on reform and changes in the social attitudes towards the gender-based violence. And also, what did the committee actually recommend with respect to that of marital rape? The Verma Committee also recommended the criminalization of marital rape, asserting that marriage should not be a defense against the prosecution of sexual violence. Now moving forward, let us actually look into the legislative actions post the committee recommendation. So what did the government actually has to say or to revert back to this particular recommendation? The Union Cabinet, despite the Justice Verma Committee's recommendations, introduced the legal provisions that permitted death penalty in certain cases, such as when the victim is left in a persistent vegetative state or when the victim is a minor under the age of 12 years old. And also, these provisions were further expanded in 2018, extending the death penalty to cases involving victims under 12, which was a significant shift away from the committee's stance against the capital punishment. Moreover, if you see, the committee's critical recommendation to criminalize the marital rape was also not adopted by the government, and the decision reflects the ongoing challenges in addressing the sexual violence within marriage and also underscores the need for continued efforts towards the comprehensive legal reform.
Friends, the title of the first topic is Unrest in the Balochistan region. Now, in this article, we are going to understand the unrest in the Balochistan region and its implication on the Indian security and the geopolitical aspiration. You can map this under GS paper 3, linkages between development and spread of extremism in Balochistan region and the security challenges and the management in the bordering regions. Now let's go through a previous question asked in the year 2013. The question, the protests in the Shahbag Square in Dhaka in Bangladesh reveal a fundamental split in society between the nationalists and the Islamic forces. So the protests in Bangladesh could lead to a problem or security problem along the India-Bangladesh border, which means the developments happening in our neighboring country can have an implication on our country, and that's the reason a question can be asked in the UPSC examination. Now, what is the context? The context is that Balochistan, which is a very unique and historical identity, right, has been witnessing protests, violent protests in the recent few weeks. Now, Balochistan is a region which covers 3 countries. So, this is the Balochistan region. It covers Iran, Pakistan and Afghanistan, right? So, this highlighted portion is the Baloch region, and the people who live in this region are the Baloch ethnic people. Now these protests in Balochistan are organized by the Baloch Yakhti Committee, right, in the Gwadar port city. Now, this committee has been criticizing the Pakistani state or the army of Pakistan. Why? Because they say that the Pakistani army is violating the human rights of people, which means they are torturing the Baloch people, they are killing the Baloch people. At the same time, what the Baloch people say is that the Pakistani state, they exploit the resources in the Balochistan region. They do not extend any benefit of the resources to the Baloch people. They do not give any benefits. They only exploit the resources. At the same time, basic amenities are lacking in the Baloch region. Basic amenities like healthcare, education, infrastructure projects, etc. And these protests have led to violent clashes between the Baloch people, the people who are protesting, and the Pakistani army. Now, the government has responded to this protest by crackdowns, and they are blocking many key towns like the Gwadar town and the Quetta town. Now, this has led to price rise of essential goods like food and medicine. This is the context. Now, let us try to understand about the Balochistan. Now, Balochistan is the largest province of Pakistan in terms of the land area, but it is the least populated. As I told you, it is home to the ethnic Baloch people, and these people, they inhabit the area in Iran as well as the Afghanistan. Now, despite the region being rich in natural resources, the people or the region is underdeveloped and neglected region. It's rich in natural resources like oil and natural gas. Despite the fact that this area is rich in natural resources, this Baloch region is one of the least developed region in the world. This region has been historically marginalized. So the people of Balochistan, what are they demanding? They are demanding greater autonomy, which means they should be responsible for the decisions they take in the Baloch region, at the same time better economic opportunities for the people of Baloch. These are the major demands of the people of Baloch from the Pakistani state. Now, let us try to understand the uprising in Balochistan, especially the historical and the political context. Now, the roots of unrest in Balochistan can be traced back to the period when the British withdrew from the Indian subcontinent in 1947. So, the British withdrew from the Indian subcontinent. They gave the option to the Kingdom of Balochistan, three options. One, either join India or Pakistan or remain independent. Now, the ruler of Balochistan, he preferred to remain independent. But next year in 1948, Pakistan conquered, annexed the Balochistan region by the use of military power. And since then, the people of Baloch are protesting against the Pakistani state for discriminating against the Baloch people, and this has led to violent clashes between the Baloch people and the Pakistani army. Now, let us also try to understand how the unrest in Balochistan could affect the Indian security. Talking about the CPEC, that is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Now, this is one of the significant economic corridor or the infrastructure project launched by China. This CPEC, it connects the Chinese Xinjiang region with the Gwadar port in Pakistan, that is Balochistan. Now, this is the CPEC. It connects the western part of China to the Gwadar port, which is in Pakistan. Now, Gwadar is a port located in the Balochistan province. Now, it is said that this CPEC is going to be a game changer for the economy of Pakistan. But it has raised concerns for our country. The first is the sovereignty issue. Now, if you see that CPEC is going through Pakistan occupied Kashmir, we claim that the entire Pakistan or the entire Kashmir belongs to our country. Which means as the CPEC is passing through POK, which means we say that this CPEC is violating the territorial integrity of our country. This is the first issue or concern that we are facing. The second is with respect to strategic threat. Now, given that China is constructing a port in Gwadar, what China will do is they will get their commercial ships as well as their navy ships, which means there will be more and more involvement of China in the Gwadar port, which is very close to the Indian coastal region, which means it will pose a security threat to our country. In the name of commercial trade with Pakistan, what China is going to do is China is going to bring their military ships, submarines to keep a check on India or to encircle India. And this will pose a big security risk to our country. Now, what is India's stand on the Balochistan region? Now, India has never interfered in Pakistan's internal affairs. But in 2016, during the Independence Day speech, the Prime Minister of our country highlighted the problems the Baloch people are facing. Right? Now, the Prime Minister stated that the Pakistani army or the Pakistani government is harassing, violating the human rights of people. The Indian state want the Pakistan state to address the concerns of the Baloch people. Now, the Indian state is advocating the problems faced by the Baloch people. But the point is, no matter what, India advocates that only diplomatic and political solution can resolve the issues the people of Baloch are facing. Right? Now, talking about the Indian concerns. One, India, like many other countries, right, has the concern about the violation of human rights in Balochistan, which we had discussed in the first slide. The second, ethnic and nationalist movement. Now, the rise of the ethnic and nationalist movements in Balochistan, and these people are seeking autonomy and independence. Now, this could have broader regional implication which could affect our own security. How? let's say India is supporting the cause of Baloch people. That is, India is fighting for the independence of Baloch. They are asking for greater autonomy or independence from Pakistan. So if we support such ethnic and nationalist movement, we also have to support such similar movements in our country. For example, there are secessionist groups in Kashmir, right? There are groups in India's northeast, then the Naxal region. So if we support such ethnic movement, we also need to support similar such movement in our country, which means we have to grant them greater autonomy to the people or groups in northeast or Kashmir or the Naxal region, or we have to give them independence. That's the reason India is not explicitly supporting the independence of Baloch people from Pakistan. I hope you understood the reason. Then, external involvement. As I told you, this project, the CPEC project, is going to be very, very important for the Pakistan's economy. As well as this economic corridor is important for China, which means more and more players will be involved in the CPEC economic corridor and the construction of Gwadar port, which will only increase the security risk to our country. So these are some of the concerns that have been highlighted in this article. So what is the way forward? Now, in order to resolve the issue the Baloch people are facing, the state of Pakistan has to adopt a multifaceted approach, which means the Pakistani state has to ensure that there is economic development in the region. At the same time, the resources that the Pakistan state uses, the benefits of that resources should also be given to the people of Baloch. And most importantly, in order to resolve the issues between India and Pakistan, diplomatic efforts is the only way, only hope through which resolves or issues between India and Pakistan can be resolved. So these are the different dimensions explained in this article. I hope you understood each and every dimension that I've explained in this article, right?
The first article is about Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Recently, this scheme of government has completed 10 successful years. And this scheme is considered to be one of the most successful scheme brought by Modi government since the year 2014. So we'll understand this scheme in detail and the core objective of this scheme to bring financial inclusion. So we'll understand what is financial inclusion. If you look at the syllabus, Mains GS paper 3 talks about inclusive growth, and you cannot bring inclusive growth without financial inclusion. So this topic becomes very, very important. Moving ahead, look at this previous year question. It says, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana was launched by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, on 28th August 2014. What is the main objective of the scheme? To provide housing loan to poor people at cheaper interest rates, to promote women's self-help groups in backward areas, to promote financial inclusion in the country, and to provide financial help to marginalized communities. So it's a very easy question that was asked in the year 2015. So you can expect such questions. Now moving ahead, what is the context? We said that the scheme has completed 10 years and we call this scheme as one of the most important schemes, and it is going to bring financial inclusion. So first of all, what is financial inclusion? See, if you look at any country, let's say for example India, there are many people living in India and some people are at the upper level of the society. So they are upper class, then there are some at the middle class, some at the lower strata, and some even lower than that lower strata. So if you observe the economic activities that are taking place, and if you look at the banking or credit facilities or insurance facilities, most of those facilities are benefited only by some chunk of that society. There are many people in the same society who are not taking any benefit out of these insurance or banking and all those things. Now, one of the reasons could be that they are not having access to these financial mechanisms. For example, there is a farmer who doesn't have access to the formal banking sector, and that is the reason he is not able to get loans from the commercial banks. So we are saying that financial inclusion is to bring all of these individuals, all of the businesses as well as all of the individuals living in a particular society or country under the financial umbrella of that country. So we want everyone should have the access to financial mechanisms in the country. Now, if everyone is part of the same financial mechanism, in that case, what will happen is that everyone will become part of the formal economic banking network. Now, this will lead to many things. First of all, there will be economic stability, there will be reduced poverty, and there will be higher inclusive growth. Why we are saying that? Because if some sections will not be part of this formal sector, then there is a chance that economically their situation will degrade. So, this is very important. Now, to bring financial inclusion, first we will be focusing on providing the access to the services. So, for example, we have this credit system wherein some institutions provide loans, the banks provide, the NBFCs provide loans, there is insurance, there are payments, there are remittances, all these facilities. For that you should have access. Now, if you go to rural areas, do you find banking institutions in rural areas? Most of the rural areas do not have that. So, we first want the access to be provided in these regions. Second, there should be affordability. Even if the services are there, but they are not affordable to the marginalized sections of the society, they are not going to take benefit out of it. So, government wants that it should also be very much affordable. You can take example of UPI. To make any transaction through UPI, you do not need to pay any kind of fees. So, this is a good example of financial inclusion. Then third, we want to bring financial literacy. See, financial literacy is very important. If you do not know about these institutions, if you do not know about these schemes, all those mechanisms, then how can you take benefit out of it? So, the knowledge part is also important. Then many a times we see some scams go on. For example, someone calls you, says that I'm going to send you some amount of money. Can you tell me the OTP? So, this kind of scam is very common in India. But we need the consumer protection. We need to have consumer education, and we need to build a trust in this vulnerable population who is still not part of your financial umbrella. If you build the trust, then they will become part of the system. Then we can also focus on this digital financial services. So, for example, you look at UPI, net banking, or any other mechanism which is being provided online. So, this digital service can be provided to every individual living in India. This is all about financial inclusion. This is the larger objective. Now, moving forward, we will look at the key features of this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. First of all, this scheme brought zero balance accounts. Government said that if you do not have any bank account, we will open a bank account for you. And this account will be a zero balance bank account. So, you do not need to have any amount in it. Still, it will be an account opened and it will operate. Second thing, government said that will provide RuPay debit cards to you. Now, this RuPay debit card will provide access to many financial services, including one insurance. This accidental insurance coverage will also be provided. Next, there is this overdraft facility. See, if you have a bank account in which you have put 10,000 rupees, you may think that you can withdraw only 10,000. I say that you can withdraw even 20,000. How? Because the bank provides you overdraft facility up to rupees 10,000. So, what it means? Even if you do not have any amount in your bank account, bank will provide you some additional amount as a short loan. So, this will act as a short loan which you will get for a very short time period. But at least you are getting it, right? So, this is overdraft. And then government said we will go for direct benefit transfer. Now, if you look at Indian history after the independence, Government of India has tried to bring many subsidies, many schemes in which government tried to send some amount of money to an individual. But what used to happen is that if government is sending rupees 100, the person used to get only 16 rupees. Rest of the amount used to go in the hands of the corrupt officials or politicians. So this corruption is a big phenomena. Now here government said that now we'll go for direct benefit transfer, wherein we will send the entire amount in the bank account of this person directly. And this government is doing because government has already linked three things. First is this Jan Dhan account, bank account. Second is your Aadhaar card. And third is your mobile number. All these three are already linked. So this we call as jam trinity. Jam trinity. So this is leading to direct benefit transfer. The amount is getting directly benefited by the individuals. Now, if you look at the key achievements of this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, why we are calling it as a successful scheme. First of all, if you look at the data till August 2024, total 53.13 crore accounts have been already opened. And if you look at the data from Indian adults' perspective, out of all the Indian adults, 80% have bank account at this stage right now, which is a very good thing. Second, there is a focus on rural and semi-urban areas. So if you look at whatever number of accounts that have been opened through this scheme, 66% of those accounts have been opened in rural and semi-urban areas. Now this is very important because rural areas, if you look at them, usually there are no banking facilities available in the rural areas. So it's a good move, we can say. Third, there is empowerment of women. How we are saying that? Because the total accounts which are opened through this scheme includes 55% accounts of women members. So women members are now participating in the financial transactions or the financial market, and this will give a greater control over their own lives. So this is empowerment of women. Then there is a growth in the saving. If you look at the data, earlier 1065 rupees is the average amount which was there deposited in the bank accounts of the people. And now in the year 2024, we see the amount has increased to 4352. So this is the time when this scheme started and this is the present time. So you see the amount has increased. That means the savings among the people of India is increasing. Okay. Now moving forward, what are the challenges? First of all, there is a challenge of over-indebtedness. What does this mean? Now, you have brought many new individuals in the banking sector. So, there are many banks who will offer them some kind of credits. They'll say, we will provide you some kind of loans. So, this person may take up those loans. Sometimes people take up loans and they are not even capable of paying back those loans. So, in that case, there will be indebtedness. So, what you need to do is that, first of all, those banks or those NBFCs, you need to regulate them so that they should not give more loan. They need to check whether the person can pay back that loan, and after that they should give that loan. Second, you need to give education to these individuals who are the newcomers. This education is called as financial education, which is very important. Then we need to strengthen consumer protection. We said that there is possibility of scams. In that case, you need to have a very strong legal framework through which you can ensure consumer protection, because the trust of consumers is the most important thing in the market. Then you need to look at the future, wherein the next phase of this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana should focus on the overall empowerment of the vulnerable population. For example, you should go for promoting entrepreneurship among women and the marginalized sections of the society, and this will be the real empowerment. Okay. Now, the future plan, the government is saying that we have an ambitious target. The target is to open up total 3 crore bank accounts in the year 2024-2025. So this is a very ambitious target, and we can say that this shows government's commitment towards bringing formalization or towards bringing individuals to the formal banking sector.
If we talk about the first article of the day, Himachal Pradesh Assembly, they passed a very forward-looking bill where they have increased the age of marriage of girls from 18 to 21. So many people are very happy, and there are very positive outcomes which will come out of this particular bill if it converts into an act. And women will get much more time to complete their education. Plus, if a girl is getting married early, then there are health implications also for that particular girl. So the point here is there are certain technical or political or let's say legislative complications involved in this particular act or in this particular whole scenario. And we have to understand these political complications via this particular article. So questions related to, and here we are talking about Indian society, social justice, women empowerment. So question related to women empowerment has been asked in UPSC 2019. Empowering women is the key to control the population growth. So directly, indirectly, this article also, in a way, if you say, there has been various observations by various committees that if a girl is getting married early, she is producing more children or she's forced to produce more children. So again, that is a different context altogether. Let's focus on the context at hand. So hope you're understanding the context or the scenario here. Himachal Pradesh is the first state in our country which has increased the age of or marriageable age of girls from 18 to 21. But the situation or the whole scenario is, it's not what it's looked like. It's not like they have passed the bill, it has become an act now. There are certain complications we have to understand as, or those complications rather, from exam perspective, from UPSC perspective. So Himachal Pradesh Assembly passed a bill raising the minimum age of marriage for women or for women from 18 to 21. The bill called Prohibition of Child Marriage, again, 2024 was passed by voice vote. So now, important point. This particular Act of Himachal Pradesh amends the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act originally passed by Parliament in 2006. You must be thinking that, sir, this is a state bill, state act, a state bill rather, because it has not yet become an act. Why it has not become an act, we'll understand it. So how a state bill is amending a parliamentary act? So for that, you have to understand that marriage and related concepts associated with marriage are in concurrent list. So when a subject is in concurrent list, that means both union and state can make laws on it. So child marriage and Prohibition of Child Marriage, PCM Act, has already been passed by Parliament in 2006. Since marriage is a concurrent list subject, Parliament has made a law. And in that law, for men, it is 21 years minimum age for marriage, and for women, it is 18 years. But now, Himachal Pradesh is doing like away with this whole different criteria. For both men and women, 21 years is the minimum age. So what Himachal Pradesh government is doing is, they are trying to amend this Prohibition of Child Marriage Act passed by Parliament, where the minimum age for marriage for women is, or for female is 18, not 21. Hope you're understanding this. So in this particular act, which is the Himachal Pradesh bill, what amendments they are proposing to the PCM Act? Definition of child. The bill redefines a child. Even before I tell you this, understand this. So there is a subject which is in concurrent list. Both state and central government can make law on it rather. So now they both have made it. But there is a but scenario. If state government makes an act or proposes a bill which contradicts central law, then in that scenario, that particular bill will be reserved by governor and it will be taken to, or it will be given to President for consideration. If President gives assent to that particular bill, then it will become an act under Article 254 Clause 2. So there are certain issues here. Hope you're understanding this. So amendments to the PCM Act. Definition of a child. So according to this, both male and female under 21 years of age is child, and if they are getting married below 21, that is a child marriage. So hope you are understanding this. This is from the criteria of marriage. So if you are getting married at 20, in Himachal Pradesh, both male and female will be considered as a child. So definition of child marriage. The bill amends the definition to ensure that new marriage applies universally, overriding any contrary laws. So that means 21 for both male and female. No confusion at all. No 21-18 scenario. Annulment period extension. Let's say you got married in your childhood at 13 years or 14 years and you become adult, or let's say 18 you reached. And then it is said that even when you have reached 18, after till 5 years you can apply. So understand this, the time frame for filing a petition to annul a child marriage is extended from 2 years to 5 years after attaining majority. So that means earlier you could file a case for annulling a child marriage till 20 because you will become adult at 18 according to this. But now this has been increased to 5 years from 2 years. So that means you can file a petition to annul your child marriage till 23. 18 plus 5, 23. Simple maths. There is no complication here. Reasons for passing this particular bill by Himachal Pradesh government, because they were saying that if a girl is getting married early, she's not getting enough time, enough opportunity to pay attention to her education or career prospect or physical development. Early marriage also is linked to negative health impacts to women. Hope you can understand this. Producing more child, impacting their reproductive health, mental health, so many different facets are involved here. Now, constitutional provisions related to the article, and then we'll understand the basic issue here, which I have already told you, that state government law is contradicting a central government law, and both of them had made a law or proposed a bill rather on a subject which is in concurrent list. Article 200 describes governor's role in assenting, reconsidering rather, or reserving a bill for the president. 254 clause 1, clause 2, pay attention here, states that if a state law contradicts a central law on a concurrent list
subject, the conflicting part of the state law is void unless approved by the president. Here, the contradicting part is marriageable age for woman or a girl, 21 years. It is contradicting the central law where the minimum age is 18 years for women, marriageable age. Article 252 or 254 rather, clause 2, allows the president to validate the repugnant provision in the state law by giving assent. So that's what will happen in this scenario. So it will take some time. This Himachal Pradesh bill is still a bill. It has not become an act. It will become an act once president gives assent to it. Since marriage and related subjects are in the concurrent list of the constitution, both the central and state governments can pass law on these topics. The bill which contradicts the existing central law, hope you are understanding the contradiction, 1821, must be sent to the governor, who will then reserve it for president assent as per Article 254 clause 2 of the constitution. The bill will become law only after president gives her assent. So hope you are understanding. The same thing has happened with Uttarakhand Uniform Civil Code bill as well. So hope the whole situation is crystal clear to you now.
So the next article is about semiconductor manufacturing facility that is getting developed in India. We have observed that Government of India is very much serious about developing a manufacturing facility for semiconductors. And we need to know what are semiconductors, why government is so much interested in this. If you look at the syllabus, this can be asked in prelims as well as mains. You can look at this previous year question. It says, discuss the multi-dimensional implications of uneven distribution of mineral oil in the world. And this is important because instead of mineral oil, you can be asked about semiconductors. They too have uneven distribution in the world. So you can expect such question in the exam. Now moving forward, what is the context? Government has said that we have an incentive plan of $15 billion and we are going to invest that. We want other private sector members to come forward for building the manufacturing facility for semiconductors. That means right now we just import. Whenever we need any kind of semiconductor, we import it from other countries. This is not a good sign for a country who wants to become Atmanirbhar. Now, first of all, what do we mean by semiconductors? First, we have conductors. Anything that can conduct electricity is termed as conductor. So, if we have copper, let's say, copper can send electricity from this side to that side. So, it is called conductor because it can conduct electricity. Then we have another thing called insulator. Insulator is something which will not pass on electricity from one side to another. So if we have plastic or rubber or glass, if we take that and if we try to send electricity from this side, it will not send it. So that means they are not good conductors of electricity. That's why we call them insulators. So conductor and insulator, two different things. Now we have third thing which is in between these two things, and that is semiconductor. We are calling it semi. Semiconductor means half conductor. It acts in such a manner that we humans can decide when this semiconductor will pass on electricity and when it will act as an insulator. It can act like conductor as well as insulator, but the condition depends on us. We will decide. That is why these semiconductors are very important for our modern electronics. If you look at mobile phone, computers, even missiles, satellites, everywhere we are using these semiconductors. Now, what are the reasons behind the Government of India's action of going towards domestic manufacturing of semiconductors? First of all, the semiconductor is going to play a key role in the fourth industrial revolution. When we say industrial revolution, what does this mean? That industries completely change, and that phenomena is industrial revolution. For example, before internet, industries used to operate in a different manner. After internet, they completely changed. So, the first industrial revolution was brought by steam engine. The second one was brought by electricity. The third one was brought by computers and internet. And the fourth one, which we are observing right now, it is being brought by artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, robotics, etc. So, if we look at these things, if we look at this fourth industrial revolution, the semiconductors are anyway core part of it. You cannot run artificial intelligence and robotics without semiconductors. And if you look at first three revolutions, in that India could not play a key role. Why? Because earlier either India was colonized by Britain or India was a poor country. But now India is capable of playing a key role in the fourth industrial revolution. That's why we should manufacture semiconductors in India. Second, there is geopolitical significance. If you look at this thing, that when it comes to semiconductors, the reserves of semiconductors are available with China. And if you look at the semiconductor manufacturing facility, it is available with Taiwan and South Korea. They are the dominating players. We say that Taiwan is the best player in the market when it comes to manufacturing of semiconductors. Now, what is the issue? We have geopolitical conflict with China. China has geopolitical conflict with USA. And we all know that China wants to take over Taiwan. If China takes over Taiwan, who will provide semiconductors to India? We are also dependent on Taiwan. So here, this geopolitical angle also leads us to domestically manufacture semiconductors. Then we do not want our dependency to be there on any other country. We don't want to depend on China or USA for the reserves of these semiconductors. Then there is a strategic security angle. If India wants to develop its defense sector, India wants better satellites, so we must have semiconductors available with us. If we remain dependent on China or any other country, and if they deny us semiconductors, how are we going to ensure our national security? And at last, there is angle of economic growth. If we bring the manufacturing facility, the jobs for high-skilled workers will be there, there will be innovation, and other industries will also get some kind of boost. So all of these are leading the government of India to go for this action. Now, there are some challenges for the government of India. First of all, there is a requirement of high capital. If you want to set up semiconductor manufacturing facility, you will have to put a lot of investment in it. And the problem is that there is long gestation period. What does this mean? If today I put some amount, that some amount will be a very high amount. As an investor, if I put that amount, this particular facility will get developed in next 3 to 5 years. That means after 5 years, it will start producing things. So I will wait for next 5 years for the production to start. Usually investors do not like such thing. They want return on their investment as soon as possible. So investors usually do not like to put money in the semiconductor manufacturing. Then there are technical complexities. You see, when I say semiconductor manufacturing, you can imagine a chip, a small chip on which many complicated things are already there. So such chips are developed in such a manner that it requires sophisticated processes, a very ultra clean environment, and the engineers who will be working on it, they will be highly skilled personnel. And if you want all of this, you will have to put more money. The operational cost will be very high, and continuously you have to put money. The investment will continue. What happens is that the technology keeps on changing. So if the technology is changing and you are building a facility which requires 3 to 5 years, that means you will have to consistently put your money or invest money in those technological advancements too. Then there is this role of global dominance. Right now we said that there are few countries who are dominating in this sector. For example, you can talk about USA, China, you can talk about Taiwan, or even South Korea. So these countries will not like India to become a good global player. So these countries will say that there are some intellectual property rights, and for that will not India to take this technology directly. So there will be many such challenges. Now, what government can do? First of all, government can provide financial support to the private sector. How? First of all, government can bring this design-linked incentive scheme or production-linked incentive scheme. If there is a private company who says that we will design the semiconductor manufacturing related things, then government should provide some kind of subsidy. Or if someone is saying we will produce it, then government can give some subsidy. And this government is doing right now. And this can be provided to the private sector from India as well as private sector from any other country. So you can bring foreign investment in India for the same. Then second thing what you can do is you can focus on ecosystem development. If government of India thinks about bringing the complete ecosystem of semiconductors, so the small parts related to it and even the high-tech technologies, everything is being done in India itself. That's a good thing to do. Then India can go for cluster-based development. So you must have heard about Silicon Valley in United States of America. Even the Bangalore city of India is considered as Silicon Valley of India. What does this mean? It is a cluster. Cluster is something where the related industries are operating from the same location. So the entire industry will develop and grow in an exponential manner. Then you have foreign investment promotion. So government many a times goes for many events like this Semicon India, and sometimes government goes for partnership with foreign companies. So this is a good step to take. After that, government can go for skill development. So we have seen government took this smart power skill development program. So government can do that. The engineers we have, we can upskill these engineers to work on semiconductor manufacturing facilities. All of these steps, if India takes, in that case, we can say we will become self-reliant in the semiconductor manufacturing, and one day even India can become the hub of semiconductor manufacturing.
Students, the title of the next topic is India's Second Nuclear Submarine. So in this article, we'll understand how India is strengthening its strategic defense capabilities. And you can map this under GS paper 3. 1. Indigenization of technology. 2nd, security challenges and management in the bordering areas, right? A previous question asked in the year 2016. It was a question asked on INS Astradharini, right? Which means a similar set of question can also be asked on other INS, right? What is the context? The context is that INS Arighat has been recently commissioned, which means it has been put to use. This INS Arighat is India's second nuclear powered ballistic missile submarine. And this is going to strengthen India's strategic defense capabilities, right? First of all, we'll understand what is a nuclear submarine. Nuclear submarine is a naval vessel. This naval vessel is powered or pushed by a nuclear reactor. Now, this nuclear reactor will help the naval vessel to operate underwater for extended period. See, in the conventional submarines which are powered by diesel engines, they have to resurface to refuel, which means they have to come on the surface for the purpose of refueling. But this submarine powered by nuclear reactor will allow the submarine to remain under the water for extended period. There are two types. One is the SSBN, the other one is SSN. See, the difference between ship submersible ballistic nuclear and ship submersible nuclear is the fact that this SSBN, the purpose is nuclear deterrence, which means these submarines can carry ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads, which means in case any country or any submarine attacks, then they will respond by launching retaliatory nuclear attack, which means the purpose is not to be a part of a war, right? SSBN. But with respect to SSN, the purpose is to destroy other submarines, other ships, and launch attack on other countries. This is primarily used for warfare during war. This one SSBN, this is used to create nuclear deterrence. What is nuclear deterrence? You be a strong country so that no country dares to attack on your country, right? So if you are strong, no country has the power or has the courage to attack your country. This is nuclear deterrence. So we are trying to be strong, right? So that China should not attack us. This is known as nuclear deterrence. Now see, nuclear submarines, they offer several advantages over conventional diesel electric submarines. For example, they have great endurance, that is they can remain underwater for a long time, speed and operational range. But there are challenges with respect to nuclear submarines, with respect to high cost, complex maintenance requirements, and the potential risk of nuclear accidents, right? Now we'll know more about INS Arighat because a question can be asked on INS Arighat. The purpose is to sustain the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region. Which means in the Indo-Pacific region, we have discussed the fact that China is trying to dominate this region. How can we counter China? By becoming strong, right? And that's the reason this nuclear powered submarine will create a strong deterrence in the Indo-Pacific region. It is armed with K-15 Sagarika missiles, which has a range of 750 kilometer, right? Now this INS Arighat offers India with a strong and survivable second strike capability. What is a second strike capability? Which means, let's say for example, another submarine attacks our submarine and our submarine gets hit. Despite the fact that it gets hit, it has the capability to second strike or to retaliate and attack the other submarine. This is known as second strike capability, which means even after being hit, it does not destroy, it has the capability to retaliate. This is known as second strike capability, right? Again, in case let's say our country is attacked by a nuclear accident, then this INS Arighat can remain hidden in the deep water and also can launch a retaliatory attack, which means we can use a submarine to attack against our opponents as well in case our country is hit by a nuclear warhead. Now features, other features. The name is derived from a Sanskrit term meaning destroyer of the enemy. Again, you never know, UPSC might also ask such question. That's the reason you need to know this. Now this submarine is equipped with indigenous nuclear reactor, which means this nuclear reactor will allow the submarine to remain under the water for extended period. Missile capacity, it has been designed to carry 12 K-15 missiles or 4 K-4 missiles. The capacity, the range of K-15 is 750 kilometers and K-4 it is 3500 kilometers. Speed 12 to 15 knots, that is 22 to 28 kilometer per hour on the surface and 24 knots while sub. See, these features might be asked in the UPSC examination. So you need to know the features. Why? Because it is a recent development, right? Now let us understand about India's submarine fleet, right? Now our submarine fleet includes a mix of both nuclear as well as conventional submarines. Conventional submarines powered by diesel. The first one is the nuclear powered ballistic missile submarines, right? Arihant is India's first nuclear powered submarine. The second one is the recently commissioned INS Arighat. India is further developing S4 and S4 variant nuclear powered submarine. This one is under construction and they are going to be more lethal than Arihant and Arighat. The second is nuclear powered attack submarines, which we discussed earlier, right? We have INS Chakra 1 and 2. See, this INS Chakra 1 and 2 we had leased from Russia and we have returned back to Russia now, which means as of now we do not have our own nuclear powered attack submarine. Now this INS Chakra 3 is something that we are going to get in the year 2025. And third one is the conventional submarine. Now under the conventional submarine we have the Sindhu Ghosh, then Shishumar class and then Kalavari class. So you need to remember the name of the class under the different submarine fleets. One is the nuclear power, the other one is the conventional submarines, right? Then we also need to understand about the project 75, 76, right? And the advanced technology project. See, as of now, the conventional submarine that we have built is under project 75. This project 75 involves the construction of 6 Scorpion class submarines and Kalavari class submarines, right? The purpose is to modernize India's conventional submarine fleet. As of now, as I told you, all the submarines that we have built is under project 75. Now the advanced submarine is something that we are going to build under project 76, which means under project 76 we have not developed any submarine as of now. All the submarines have been built under Project 75. And the nuclear powered ballistic submarine is not a part of either 75 and 76. Very, very important for your prelims examination. The nuclear, the Arihant and the Arighat, they have been built under the Advanced Technology Project, which is different from Project 75 and 76. This is what you need to remember for your prelims examination. I hope you have understood. Now, importance of INS Arighat. It strengthens India's nuclear triad. Now, what is nuclear triad? Which means that India has the capability to launch a nuclear warhead from land, air and water. Which means we have those missiles, nuclear powered missiles, which we can launch from land. For example, we have S-400 missile. From air, we have Rafale. Then we have Mirage, Sukhoi. These are fighter jets which can power a nuclear powered missile. And then water, we have Arihant and Arighat. I hope you understood what is nuclear triad. Nuclear triad, which means India has the capability to launch missiles from land, air and under the water, right? Second strike ability we already discussed. Deterrence, which means you become a strong nation so that your opponent or enemy does not dare to attack your country. Why? Because let's say India has a strong army, navy and air force. Once India has a strong navy, air force and army, China will never dare to attack India. Why? Because when India retaliates, it will be mutually assured destruction. That's the reason China wouldn't dare. To create that deterrence, we have to strengthen our military, that is army, navy and air force. Regional power balance. Now, because of the rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific, right, China is trying to counter or corner India. So, by strengthening our navy fleet or submarine fleet, we can create balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region by countering China, right? This is the importance of INS Arighat. At the same time, the development of INS Arighat shows India's growing importance for self-reliance in defense technology, which means we are indigenizing the technology, we are building the technology in our own country, right? So, this is an effort to show that we are indigenizing the technology. Challenges. See, we are building sophisticated technology, right? But developing or having this sophisticated technology requires advanced technology, skilled personnel and substantial infrastructure, which currently we do not have. Second, strategic. We have to expand our submarine fleet. Why? We have to expand our submarine fleet so as to counter China or counter any major power in India's periphery, right? So, there has to be continuous at sea deterrence, right, which means we need to have a sufficient or required number of submarines so as to counter China. Third one is economic. See, when India invests in the advanced technology, right, or let's say the submarines, doesn't mean India has to invest only in the navy submarines. Whenever the budget is sanctioned, it is sanctioned for army, navy and air force, right? So, if a bulk of money goes for the navy, then the other sectors might get affected, right? So, you have to maintain balance. The third one is, or the fourth one is geopolitical. Now, if India will try to strengthen its capability or power, the other countries might also increase their power. Let's say Pakistan. Seeing India investing in its defense, Pakistan might also invest more and more in the defense, which means more and more number of countries are investing a substantial amount in defense, which means they're enhancing the defense capability. This might lead to a tension where all the countries like let's say China, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, USA, Australia, Japan, they're confronting in the Indo-Pacific region, which has a potential for a full-scale war, right? These are some of the challenges. I hope you understood each and every dimension of the article, right?